Hello there, back again, second time today, but this is for the second part of the country view stitch up. So this is my April kit, country view. You can buy it as a kit or you can buy it as a PDF. This is part of the Embroidery Circle, which is a monthly subscription, but you don't have to subscribe. You can buy it as a one-off. But with subscribing, you do get access to the exclusive pages on my website, and you do also get a discount. So today we are going to work on these beautiful yellow flowers, and for that we need a little bit of hollow fibre, because we're going to be working on, let's see if I can leave that there just while we're doing that so you can have a look. So we're going to be working on filling up these little petals. Okay, so I'm going to pull a little bit off. And you're going to just roll it into a ball. You want it to be elongated because the petals are elongated. So you want it to be a longer shape. You don't need too much. You want it to fit inside this area. If it doesn't fit inside the area, you've got a bit more work to do in trying to get it to fit inside the area. So let's have a look. I'll hold that there so you can see. That's much better. So now what we're going to do is just going to roll it a little bit more, to make sure I don't have loads of ends sticking out. We don't want the fuzziness to be sticking out of the side. So I'm going to give it a little rub. I'm going to come up at the base and into that, and we're just going to anchor it down. I want to make sure that this stays in place. Okay, so three stitches or however many you need just to anchor this in place. Okay. There we are, and we need one more here, and then we're going to be stitching over this area. So this little bit here, you can see it goes a long way. I'm just going to move to one side. Okay, there we are. Let's just zoom in so you can have a little look at that. Okay, and now we're going to work on this little petal here. Let's work over this bit. So we're going to go, let's go from the tip. It doesn't matter if you go from the tip to the centre, but I like to go any way that I feel is the right way at the time. Okay, I want to make it nice and smooth. Just rethread our needle because I want to smooth down this thread. So I've got a nice base for creating a lovely satin stitch over. And then I'm going to work to the centre there. So I'm going to work down the length of this petal, bringing my stitches really close together. There we go. I want them to sit nicely together. And again. So don't worry if you miss the start of this. I am going to save it. It will be saved on my Instagram for a time, but it will be saved in the Embroidery Circle pages on my website. And it will be saved onto YouTube as well for ease of access. Okay, just so it stitches up nice and evenly, I'm going to work from left to right. So you can see the height that we're getting on this petal. There we go. I just want to make sure that all of that hollow fibre is covered. But you can see it's starting to take a really lovely shape. So I'm going to come back to this side now. You can see it's just peeking through there. So I want to do another stitch over there. And then the stitches get shorter as you go around the side. There we go. Right, so I'm just going to rethread some thread to carry on. And this is basically how we create that lovely dome shape on the petals. I'm going to keep going around the side. There we are. You can see that lovely dome shape on there. I'm going to just pop a little one here. Just pulled up the thread from behind. Stitch right underneath because I just want it to be nice and curved. Okay. I think we could do with another one here. There we are. So you can see you've got that lovely dome shape on that petal. How cute! I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to knot my thread at the back. I'm going to knot those two together. There. And give them a little snip. Okay. I'm just going to use my needle to give them a little comb. There we are. So, as you can see, got that lovely dome shape. Now, to add that little contrast stitch, I'm just going to use 2 strands of the brown, do 1 contrast stitch just halfway down the petal, straight through the middle. There we are. Now I've used a piece there that isn't very dark, so obviously within your kit you do have the variator thread which does have different shades of the brown in, so let me get a darker shade of that brown just because you want to see that contrast stitch going through that centre. We'll go again. Okay. Here we go. Right through the centre. There we are, looks better. So you can see little contrast. And then to do the centre of the flower, you're going to do it in exactly the same way with a small ball of the hollow fibre. And you're going to stitch, I stitched horizontally, but you can stitch any direction you like, but that is exactly how we get that lovely bouncy centre there. Okay, I will show you how to create one of the bluebells, and then I would love to see your finished pieces, your progress pieces of the Country View kit. Okay, so we're going to go into one of these spots here. And this is what they're going to look like. So I'm going to cut myself some thread. We're going to use 5 strands of the purple, and we want 1 of the pink, 1 strand of the pink, just to add that little bit of contrast, a little bit of texture, 2 different colours. Okay, so we're going to take 1 of the purple out, and we're going to take 1 of the pink out and add the pink to the purple. Set anything else that we're not using to the side, because we can use those in another piece. Okay, so it's going to be mixed like that. Nice fresh snip. Okay. So to start with, we're going to use 1 finger, and we're going to wrap the thread around 4 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got a little loop like that. And we're then going to, I'm going to stitch down into the top. Let's bring you up here so you can see. Into the top of where the bluebell starts. Make sure that pulls it in. Okay. And then we're going to come onto the inside. That's a little bit big actually, so let me go back down. Come back through here. Okay, we don't want our loop to be bigger than the flower that we've got there, so let me just roll that into another little bundle of 4. It is a gorgeous one, isn't it, Martha? Really cute. There we go. So let's just measure that. So I want a tiny, tiny one. So I've just measured that on my little finger instead. Okay. I'll rethread my needle. Here. Oh, let's rethread my needle and start again. So this is a fiddly one. Doing the bluebells. Okay. So I'm going to wrap around. Let me bring you up. I will zoom out a minute so you can see how I do the wrap around. I'm just going to wrap around the very edge of my little finger. So I want a really tiny loop. You've got to play around so you get the size that you need. Everyone's fingers are a different size, aren't they? So as you can see, that one will work well in there. I'm going to stitch down into the top of the bluebell till that loop sits on top. Once it's there, I'm going to stitch back up into the centre and catch those loops. Let me zoom in so you can see that. I've got Hazel, my dog, back scratching at the bedroom door wanting to get in. Okay. I hold it in place. Pulled a little loop out there, haven't I? Let's come back. Okay, let's knot this down here. Okay, and then we're going to come down to the bottom of the bluebell. I'm going to catch the loops. Just pull that one a little bit tight. I'm going to pull it back out again. And then I'm going to anchor them at the bottom with a couple of stitches there. Give it a little bit of a, I can put those little lengths in there. And to anchor it again. I'm just going to use my scissors. I'm going to poke those underneath there. If they get in the way because I've anchored them, it will be okay just to give them a little snip. We don't want those sticking out. Okay, and then we are going to add, just manoeuvre them around, tuck those in, there we go. We're going to add a couple of straight lines at the bottom, just to give the bluebell that little kick at the bottom, because it is like a little bell shape, isn't it? So you're going to do a little kick there at the bottom. There we go. And if they look quite small, we can always go over it again, do 2. So we get a lovely little bell shape at the bottom of the bluebell. Oh, that's cute. Ah. And that's how we do our little bluebells. Zoom back out. We can play around closing that little gap by just pulling them in. And it looks really nice, you know, having that pink coming through as well. It just adds, if you notice on bluebells, you do tend to have that little line of colour. I think that works really well. I think it's a really nice way of doing it. And then obviously the bluebells don't just dangle. We've got them on the lovely stem here, and I've done that in a lovely split stitch. So in your PDF, booklet that you download or in your PDF that you got within your kit. If you bought the kit, it tells you how to do the stem stitch, but I also did a little video on it yesterday too. So there we go. This is just an added extra towards this kit, just to show you how to do some of the stitching in there. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me via any of the contact links within the booklet, within the PDF. You can DM me on Instagram. You can message me via email as well. All of my contact details are in there. But I do hope you enjoy stitching up this gorgeous kit. It's still available on my website. If you don't want the full kit and you've got your own materials, you could also get the PDF as well. But I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me, and speak to you soon.